Hello everyone and welcome to the Gooner Factory. So Arsenal lose 2-0 at home to West Ham in what was probably our poorest display of the season. Lacklustre up front, lacking creativity, lacking that final moment. A couple of good performances actually that we'll be talking about. But also, where does that leave us in the title race? So, let's get into it. I mean, where do you even start with a game like that? That was so frustrating. Losing at home 2-0 to West Ham. Like I said, it's probably our worst result of the season, and it wasn't even through lack of decent play. We had so many attacks, so much good stuff being played in midfield, but as soon as it got to the attackers, it was just dead. There was nothing happening whatsoever. The attackers couldn't find any ounce of creativity at all. There were so many chances as well that Gabriel Jesus just kept putting wide, kept knocking over, kept missing. I mean, Saka hit the post on one of them, but apart from that, it was just a lot of possession, but no final product. In terms of keeper and defence and even parts of the midfield, we was actually pretty good. Like I said, we dominated most of the game. In terms of possession, it was all one-way traffic. You know, Arsenal had the majority of the ball, but we just couldn't kill the game off. We couldn't even get a single goal at home to West Ham. That is terrible. And I think you've only got to look at that midfield balance to realise we've definitely dropped off in terms of midfield capabilities from last season. Last season, Saka, Partey and Odegaard were far more effective than Rice, Odegaard and the other guy that they throw in there, whether it be Trossard or Havertz. It's just not having the same impact in games. I mean, Trossard yesterday was so poor. I've been championing Trossard, hoping that he gets more minutes, saying how good he is, saying how good he can operate in certain tight areas. But yesterday, nothing. I didn't look at any part of Trossard's performance and think, do you know what? He's actually done good in that area. I think that was the poorest display from Trossard I've seen in an Arsenal shirt. You know, and I'm seeing a lot of hysteria online saying, oh, Arteta got it wrong. He shouldn't have done that. I think Arteta had the perfect game plan. What more can you want? We dominated the game. We created about 30... I think we've had over 30 shots. It's not Arteta's responsibility to put the ball in the back of the net. That falls on the attackers, and they just wasn't good enough in the game yesterday. So I've put together some player ratings, right? So we'll talk about all the players individually. So Raya, I put him as a 5. You let 2 goals in at home. Whether you made a mistake or not, you're still probably just below average, right? So I gave him a 5. Zinchenko, again, 5. Lost the ball a couple of times, but I thought his performance was actually better than it had been in the previous 2 or 3 games. So I gave him a 5. Gabriel and Saliva, you let 2 goals in, you had to give them a 6, but they actually done some decent ball recoveries, and that couple of times where West Ham did try and catch us on the break, Saliba and Gabriel always seem to snuff out the danger. Ben White, again 6, I think he made 1 stray pass that led to a fairly dangerous attack from West Ham, so I can't give him any higher than a 6. Declan Rice, 7, I actually thought he had a fairly decent game. He was tracking back lots, putting in some decent challenges, finding some nice passes, playing some driving through balls at times. So I think 7's a fair score for Rice. Trossard, 5, poor. Odegaard, 7. He was actually probably the bright spark in Arsenal. And if I had to give a sort of a man of the match, it would probably be to Odegaard. Saka, 5. Lacked everything that we usually praise Saka for. Martinelli, 5. No end product. Kept getting frustrated on that left-hand side. Couldn't really even whip the ball in much like he usually does. The ball got stuck under his feet way too many times. And then Gabriel Jesus, 4. In terms of play, he actually done some pretty nice stuff. In terms of skill and desire, but the final product definitely wasn't there. I've never seen him miss as many chances as he did yesterday. That's the performance a lot of people are going to look at and say, this is why we need an out-and-out number 9. This is why we need a goal scorer. Gabriel Jesus missed about 10 chances yesterday that he probably should have scored. Odegaard probably should have had a hat-trick of assists. Saka should have had an assist. Ben White should have had an assist. We know Jesus isn't the strongest in the air, but there was 2 or 3 headers I probably would have scored. You probably would have scored. We can't keep missing chances like that if we're to be in this title race, unless we do go out and sign a number 9 in January. And if anything, that performance will sort of push the hand of Arteta and Edu. They're going to be thinking and knowing we need a number 9 who's reliably going to be putting the ball in the back of the net when the chances come up. And Jesus just doesn't seem to be that guy. I would still have him as a squad player, but in terms of the figurehead to our attack, I don't think he's good enough. I've been hoping for the past few weeks. I've said on here I think he can be. But after a performance like that where you miss so many big chances and you lose to West Ham at home 2-0, it kind of puts things in perspective and you realise Jesus maybe isn't the number 9 we all want him to be. So yeah, I can't really put much of the blame on Arteta, and that's why I'm giving him an 8. I think he set up the team perfectly. Like I said, I would have gone for Trossard in the middle of the park. He ended up having to play him anyway because Havertz had to miss the game. But he could have put Emil Smith-Rowe in now. I thought Trossard was the right guy. But after having seen him, I wouldn't pick him again for the next game. I think it was a poor display. So where does that leave us in the title race? If you're looking at the table, we're still in and amongst it. But you can't keep putting on performances like that. If we're to be anywhere near the title come next year, you can't be losing home games to West Ham. I know West Ham are a decent team this season, but the teams at the top are so good, they're not going to be dropping points like this. Aston Villa wouldn't be dropping points like that. Liverpool, they're probably not going to be dropping points like that. So for Arsenal to be doing that, when the table at the top is so congested, there's not many points between the top teams, okay? So let's go through like the top 5, okay? So you got Liverpool at the top on 42. Arsenal are still in second place on 40. You got Villa on 39. Man City on 37. If they win that game in hand, they're level on points with us. A lot of people have been saying Man City have been nowhere near it this season. If they win their game in hand, they're still level on points with us. So Arsenal have been nowhere near it this season. So we can't keep saying, oh, Man City ain't at it this season, so we can get away with losing these games, because eventually Man City are probably going to come good. So now it's about time that Arsenal come good. So you've got Man City in 4th, like I said, 37 points, game in hand. And then you've got Tottenham on 36. So there's not much in it. It's so tight. So we can't afford any more of these performances, I would say. We've got Fulham away in our next game on Sunday. So we have to make sure we go and win that game. If not, the title race might be over in December for us. We might get to a point where we're out of the title race early January, and that would be terrible considering where we were last season. If we was to fall off that much where we're sort of 6 points behind in January, that would be a catastrophic season. But let me know your thoughts on everything you've heard in this video. What did you think of the game? What did you think of the performances? Are you still feeling optimistic about the title race? Do you still think we have a chance? Let me know. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. If you could, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.